we're going to talk about the chromatic scale in today's lesson. The chromatic scale basically just means you play all of the available notes across the octave. So from your low C to your high C, you play every note in between. This means we got to learn some new notes. So you already know the 7 notes of your C major scale. We're going to add in 5 new notes in order for you to learn the whole chromatic scale. That's every note between C and C. So the notes you already know are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then of course C again. There's some notes in between some of these notes. For instance, in between C and D, you have D flat or C sharp. A lot of these notes can be written either as sharps or flats. And all that means is you're taking the note, the letter of the note, and you're either raising it by a step or lowering it by a step. Remember when we talked about tuning and we said if you're low, you're flat, and if you're high, you're sharp? Well, that is the same with writing that in music. So, going up, we'll talk about sharps. So you go C, then up a half step to C sharp, then the D, which you already know, then up a half step to D sharp, then E, which you know, F, which you know, then F sharp, then G, which you know, G sharp, A, which you know, A sharp, B, which you know, and C. And those are all of the notes. Going down, you might think of them as flats since we're going down. So you go top C, down to B flat or A sharp, down to A, then down to A flat or G sharp, either way, down to G flat, F, which you already know, E, which you already know, down to E flat or D sharp, down to D, which you already know, down to D flat, which you already know, or C sharp, down to C. Now that can get a little confusing, but all you need to remember is that there's a lot of sharp and flat notes that are the same. Just think about the notes that are around it, and you'll get all of that right away. When you put the chromatic scale together, it sounds like this. You hear how it kind of sounds like a creepy crawly something going up a ladder and coming back down? Well, that's basically exactly what's happening. You have all the notes going up and all the notes coming down. If you imagine C to D is a step, then C to C sharp or D flat would be a half step. And the chromatic scale is all half steps. So half step, half step, half step, half step, half step, half step, and so on and so forth. So when you learn to put all of these together in a really nice and quick way, you can really kind of smear up and down the scale in a really cool way. Pretty awesome, right? And you can take that all the way up if you want. Pretty awesome, right? You can do this. All you got to do is just learn all of the notes in between the notes that you already know from the C major scale, and you'll have the chromatic scale.